Welcome to our journey through ancient Egypt, a land rich with history and marvels. Today we'll explore what life was like for children in this fascinating civilization. Egypt is located in northeast Africa. Can you see that long blue line running through it? That's the Nile River, stretching over 4,000 miles. In ancient times, the Nile was the heart of Egypt, providing water, food, and a way to travel. Every year the river would flood, leaving behind rich, fertile soil, perfect for growing crops like wheat and barley. This is why Egypt was called the gift of the Nile. Without the Nile, Egyptian civilization wouldn't have flourished as it did. The river was so important that most cities were built along its banks. The Egyptians also believed the Nile was a divine gift from their gods, bringing life to the land. Now let's step back in time and see what life was like for a child in ancient Egypt. Imagine waking up in a small mud brick house just like this one. The houses were made from the sun-dried bricks of the Nile's clay, keeping the homes cool in the hot desert climate. As a child, you'd wear simple clothes made of linen, a light and breathable fabric, perfect for the warm weather. Boys and girls often played with toys like spinning tops, dolls and balls. But playtime wasn't all day. Children also had chores to help their families, like fetching water from the Nile or helping in the fields. Learning was an important part of growing up. Boys often learned their father's trade, whether it was farming, crafting, or even becoming a scribe, which was a very respected job. Girls learned from their mothers how to manage the household, cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the family. Education was practical, focusing on the skills needed to contribute to daily life. After a day of work and play, families would gather for meals. Egyptians enjoyed a diet rich in bread, fruits, vegetables, and fish from the Nile. Bread was a staple food and it was often baked in clay ovens. Honey was used as a sweet treat, and they even enjoyed fruits like dates and figs. In ancient Egypt, life was deeply connected to what they believed were gods and to the pharaoh, who was considered a living god on earth by his people. The pharaoh ruled Egypt with absolute power, making decisions about everything from building grand monuments to organizing the army. The government was highly structured, with officials and priests helping the pharaoh manage the land. Religion played a huge role in daily life. The Egyptians worshipped many gods and goddesses, each responsible for different aspects of life, like the sun, the river, and the afterlife. Temples were built all over Egypt to honor these gods, and priests performed daily rituals to keep the gods happy. Did you know that ancient Egypt is mentioned in the Bible? One famous story is about Moses, a Hebrew baby who was hidden in a basket and placed in the Nile River to protect him from the pharaoh's order to harm all newborn Hebrew boys. The pharaoh's daughter found Moses and raised him as her own, right there in Egypt. Later, Moses would lead the Hebrews out of Egypt in the story known as the Exodus, showing God's power and plan for his people. The Egyptians believed strongly in the afterlife. They thought that when someone died, their soul would journey to another world, where they would live forever if they passed the gods' tests. This belief led them to create elaborate tombs and fill them with everything a person might need in the afterlife, from food to treasures, even their pets. Some of the most famous structures in Egypt, like the Great Pyramids, were built as tombs for the pharaohs. These massive stone monuments have stood the test of time, reminding us of the Egyptians' deep connection to their beliefs and their desire to be remembered forever. Now let's explore some of the most famous structures in ancient Egypt, monuments that have fascinated people for thousands of years. The Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, stands as a testament to the incredible engineering skills of the Egyptians. Right next to the Great Pyramid is the Sphinx, a massive statue with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh. The Sphinx has stood guard over the pyramids for millennia, symbolizing strength and wisdom. Even today, the Sphinx holds many secrets, and scientists are still trying to uncover all its mysteries. Another magnificent structure is the Temple of Karnak. It wasn't built all at once, but over many generations by different pharaohs. Inside, you'll find towering columns, giant statues, and walls covered in hieroglyphs that tell stories of battles, gods, and the power of the pharaohs. The Valley of the Kings is another incredible sight, where many pharaohs were buried. These tombs were hidden deep in the mountains to protect them from grave robbers. One of the most famous tombs discovered here was that of the boy king Tutankhamun. His tomb was filled with treasures, including a golden mask that has become one of the most iconic images of ancient Egypt. Now that we've explored the wonders of ancient Egypt, how about bringing some of that history to life with fun activities you can do at home or in the classroom? Let's dive into some creative projects and challenges that will help you experience what it was like to live in ancient Egypt. First, let's make an Egyptian bracelet. In ancient Egypt, jewelry was more than just decoration, it had symbolic meanings. Gather some beads and string and create your own bracelet, just like the ones Egyptian children might have worn. You can choose colours that were important to the Egyptians, like blue for the Nile or gold for the sun. When you're done, you'll have a piece of history to wear. Next, try your hand at writing a short story about a day in the life of an Egyptian child. Imagine waking up in a mud brick house, helping your family with chores, playing by the Nile, or visiting the local market. What adventures would you have? What would you learn? Use your imagination to create a story that takes you back in time. The Egyptians wrote using hieroglyphs, a system of writing made up of pictures and symbols. Why not create your own set of hieroglyphs? You can use them to write your name, a secret message, or even a short poem. Once you've mastered your symbols, try writing a letter or decorating your room with your own Egyptian artwork. Ever wondered how the Egyptians built those enormous pyramids? Here's your chance to create your own. You can use clay, sugar cubes, or even building blocks to design and construct a mini pyramid. Think about the precision and planning the Egyptians used, and see how tall and sturdy you can make yours. Maybe it can even house a tiny treasure. Remember, history isn't just something you read about, it's something you can experience and create. Keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll discover the next great wonder of the ancient world.